is what you do with the thoughts when they show up. Of course, in meditation, what we learn to do is to just watch the thought. An unruly 2-year-old, when they run into the room, will eventually run out, and then they're not your problem anymore, right? Treat your thoughts the same way. You don't have to react to every thought you have. Now, did you know that you have the power to time travel? How many of you are aware of that? Right? Okay. Some of you are going like, what? Human beings are the only creature on the planet that can time travel. And here's the way it works. Notice what you're thinking of right now. Is it about something that happened before? Is it something you're carrying from yesterday or from 15 years ago? Or are you worried about what's on your task list that you have to do later today? Or are you in your email, even as I'm speaking, worrying about taking care of something else that's going on later, right? Obsessing, obsessing, obsessing. 100% of our stress is self-induced. 100%. And 99% of that stress that is self-induced, you can't hear me in the back. All right, my apologies. I was trying to avoid the popping up the microphone. All right. Where was I? 100% of stress is self-induced, and 99% of that stress that you create yourself comes from either living in the past and worrying about something or angsting over something that already went on that you can't control anyway, or worrying about something that hasn't happened yet that is yet to come. Okay? Where do you find peace? Where is there no stress? Only right now. And we're going to come back to that. Now, I want to invite you all to engage in an exercise right now. I want you to pick up a glass of something from your table. Okay, now, whatever it is. It can be an empty glass, okay? I want you to hold the glass out and kind of give it some heft here. And I want you to just kind of make an estimate in your head. Keep the glass up. How much does that glass weigh? What do you think? A few ounces? Keep it up. Keep it up. Right? A few ounces, 7 ounces. Okay. All right. Just keep it up. Keep it up. All right. So, what do you notice is happening as you continue to hold that glass? Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, keep the glass up. If you took physics class, you know that it is not possible that that glass is actually getting heavier, right? You know this. What's going on? Your muscles are getting tired because you're holding it out and holding it out and holding it out. Now, what would happen if I said you had to hold that glass out there for the next 8 hours? How many of you would be able to do it? None, and yet this is what you freaking do every day when you go into the workplace and you're on all the time, right? It's the equivalent of walking around with something like this. By the end of 8 hours, how much is this glass going to weigh?
It'll be in pieces.
It'll be in pieces. Oh, yeah. Okay, you can set the glass down now. Shake it out. I don't want you to have your arms cramping up on it. Right? Right, it won't weigh any less, yet it will feel like it weighs 100 pounds. And if I asked you to hold that for an entire week, by Friday afternoon, we'd be scraping up what remains of you off the carpeting and carting you off in a little box, right? This is how we carry stress. You know, we think we have to be on all the time. We think we have to be there for everybody else. We have to get it done. We have to finish this project. We have to finish this deadline, which is more important than life itself. No, it's not. Almost nothing is more important than life itself. So the program, the idea here today is, okay, well, so how can you live your life knowing that this stuff is going on, knowing you have the project, right, you have the things you do have to carry around, how can you live your life with just a little less stress, given the reality is that there are all these things going on? All right, well, one, you've already done. Put the damn glass down. Or whatever, metaphorically speaking, your burdens are. How many of you, when you go home at night, allow your smartphone to follow you into the toilet? See, laughter and tears are the two signs that our body uses to say, I'm a little uncomfortable. Laughter is more politically correct, right? So I make a comment like that, right? Everyone who laughed here, I'm guessing at least once you've been sitting on the pot doing email, haven't you? That's one of the scariest things when you're in the public restroom and you're hearing somebody on their phone in the stall. You can't even give yourself that space. Okay, you need therapy. Plus, I don't want to know what you do with your other hand. But that's another story entirely. Okay, so put it down, right? I coach executives. It is astounding to me how often I have to have the conversation with my clients at this time of year about going on vacation. And I always ask, what's your plan? Well, first of all, if it's the first summer they've coached with me, they generally don't have one. So I ask, well, so how do you keep in touch with the office? Oh, well, I do this and this, and I get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then 3 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock. This is a vacation. And then I tell them a story about, when I was a baby supervisor, and I learned all about how from one of our division presidents, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but a lesson that he taught us was, we'd all gone off to a conference, and there was a crisis back at the workplace. And he said, okay, if any of you want to leave, that's great, to go back and rescue them. But he said, here's the thing. If you don't have somebody back there who can take care of this problem, tender your resignation on Tuesday when I come back to the office. Because I don't need people who aren't leaders. I don't need people who are carrying everything with them all the time. If you can't go on vacation or off on a leadership retreat and have someone else take care of it, you're not really leading. Set the burden down. So, of course, I work with my clients to come up with a strategy. Okay, even healthcare executives, okay, they tell me, I really do need to touch base at least once a day because people actually do die where I work. Okay, so I'll give you that. But come up with a strategy. So maybe it's once a day at a time where you're not walking on the beach. And that's it. And make it clear to your staff. If you want to get a hold of me, I will read it at 9 a.m. I will be available during this 1 hour. The rest of the time, I won't pay attention. And every time my clients do that, they come back so much more relaxed. Because what they did was, in addition to setting boundaries for themselves and setting their burden down, what they also do is they set up expectations for everybody else. And they make it okay for everybody in the workplace to set it down and go away and take care of themselves every once in a while. Leaders who are always on and always available also send the message that you must do that too. And so what do they create? They create companies filled with people who live in a constant state of anxiety, who are walking around with like 4 or 5 cups like this, and they never are allowed to put it down. Am I making sense about that? You all know people like this, right? Okay, then we also have the issue of time travel. I don't know how many of you might be familiar with the Big Four in healthcare. Anybody here familiar with that term? Okay. We've been talking about it a lot since the beginning of the year. A couple of big meta studies came out that basically said, you know what? Most of the problems we have in our healthcare system in the United States are the result of poor habits, poor personal habits, okay? And the Big Four are food choice and portion control, tobacco use, or the use of toxins, physical inactivity, and stress, or the inability to manage stress. And of course, you can see how all those are related. The statistics on the Big Four are astounding. It's something like 81% of all chronic disease is either caused by or aggravated by one of those Big Four. 76% of all doctor visits, so 3 out of every 4 doctor visits, are related to one of those Big Four causes, which are all controllable. And 91% of all prescription drugs. Anybody who's ever worked in benefits or healthcare management knows that of the top 10 most prescribed drugs, what are 4 of the top 10? Antidepressants, that's right. God bless Zoloft.